When a man truly starts seeing you as the person he wants in his life, something surprising happens. It may sound completely backwards at first, but the truth is this: he does not always treat you better in the way most people expect. He treats you differently, and that difference is something many women overlook because they are searching for the obvious signs. They are waiting for more gifts, more romantic surprises, more dramatic words, and more moments that feel like a movie. But the man who is actually serious often shows it in ways that are much quieter, sometimes so quiet that you might even miss them. Instead of trying to impress you every second, he starts building something with you. Instead of creating a perfect image, he starts showing you his real self. And that is where the difference begins. If you have ever wondered why one connection feels peaceful while another leaves you constantly confused, this is the reason. When a man decides that you are someone important, something shifts inside him. His energy changes, his behavior changes, his priorities start moving. It is not always louder or more exciting. Sometimes it becomes calmer, more stable, and more meaningful. Today, we are going to talk about the 4 things that begin to happen when a man truly sees you as his person. Not the fantasy version, not the version created by movies and social media, the real version. The version that shows what actually matters when someone is emotionally invested. And before we get into it, understand this. If you are watching this, you are probably not here for games or temporary attention. You are here because you want clarity. You want to understand what is really happening beneath the surface. So we are going to keep it real. No empty promises, no unrealistic expectations, just the behaviors that often appear when a man has genuinely started seeing a woman as someone valuable in his future. The interesting thing is that most men do not make some huge announcement when they have made that decision. There is usually no dramatic conversation where he says, "I have chosen you, you are the one." It rarely happens that way. Instead, the signs appear through small changes. His actions begin speaking louder than his words. The way he communicates starts changing. The way he includes you in his life starts changing. The effort becomes less about proving himself and more about creating a connection. And if you know what to notice, these changes become much easier to recognize. A man who is only interested in attention usually focuses on how you see him, but a man who sees you as someone important begins focusing on understanding you. He becomes more curious about your thoughts, your feelings, your goals, and the little things that make you who you are. He is no longer only trying to win your approval, he is trying to know you deeply. And that is a completely different energy. Many people mistake this quieter behavior for losing interest because it does not always come with constant excitement. But sometimes the strongest feelings are shown through consistency, not intensity. Pay attention to this because this is where many people get confused. They think love always looks like a chase, but sometimes love looks like someone finally feeling comfortable enough to stop performing and start connecting. The first major change is this: he stops trying to impress you all the time and starts trying to understand you. This is a huge shift, and many people misunderstand it. In the early stages, when a man is attracted to someone, he often brings his best performance. He wants you to see his strengths. He shares his achievements, his funniest stories, his most confident side, and the parts of himself that he believes will make you interested. He puts extra effort into creating a strong first impression. He wants you to notice him. He wants you to think highly of him. And honestly, that stage can feel exciting because you can feel the effort. He is showing up with confidence. He is making plans. He is trying to stand out. But when his feelings become deeper, something changes. The focus moves away from proving himself and moves toward creating understanding. The performance starts fading because he no longer feels like he has to constantly convince you. Instead, he starts paying attention to what matters to you. He remembers small details. He notices your moods. He learns what makes you happy and what makes you uncomfortable. He becomes less focused on being impressive and more focused on being present. And that is something many people overlook because it does not always look dramatic. It can look simple, it can look ordinary, but those ordinary moments often reveal the deepest intentions. The man who wants to build something real is not only asking, "How can I make her like me?" He starts asking, "How can I understand her better?" And that question changes everything.
It is not because he has lost interest. It is because he is becoming more genuine with you. The surface level conversations start changing because he is no longer satisfied with just knowing the easy parts of your life. He stops asking questions just to keep the conversation alive and starts asking questions because he truly wants to understand you. He is not only asking, "How was your day?" He starts asking, "What made you feel that way? Why did that situation affect you so much? What is really bothering you underneath everything you said?" He begins paying attention to the small details that most people ignore. He notices your moods, your habits, the things that frustrate you, the little things that make you different, even the parts of yourself you may think are not perfect. And instead of judging those things or pulling away, he becomes more curious about them. He wants to understand the person behind the emotions.
Because something changes when a man starts seeing a woman as someone truly important. When he is casually dating, his thoughts are often focused on himself. Does she like me? Am I making the right impression? How do I keep her interested? But when he sees you as someone who could have a real place in his life, his focus shifts. He starts thinking, who is she really? What does she need from me? How can I understand the way she thinks and feels? That is a completely different mindset, and you can hear that difference in the way he talks with you. The conversations become less about entertainment and more about connection. He is not just trying to make you laugh or keep things exciting. He is trying to know you. And yes, this can sometimes feel different from the early stages. It may not have the same rush or constant excitement, but that is exactly the point. Real connection is not always about chasing a feeling. Sometimes it is about creating something strong enough to last. So pay attention here, because this is where many people misunderstand what is happening. When a man is trying to understand you instead of impress you, he is not becoming bored. He is becoming invested. He is learning you because in his mind, you are not just a temporary chapter. You are someone he wants to understand on a deeper level. A man who is truly serious does not just collect moments with you. He pays attention to patterns. He remembers what you say. He stores away the little things that reveal who you are. That is one of the biggest differences between someone who is simply interested and someone who sees real value in you. A person who is only enjoying the moment may ask questions and then forget the answers. But someone who genuinely cares will bring those details back later because they stayed with him. He remembers the story you told him weeks ago. He notices when something you mentioned before happens again. He connects things about you that even you may not realize are connected. That is not just being polite, that is emotional attention. Let me give you a simple example. Imagine you casually mention that you dislike people arriving late because growing up, someone important to you was often late and it made you feel forgotten. A man who is only casually interested may hear it, say something nice and move on. A man who truly values you will remember it. The next time you meet, he makes an effort to arrive early, not because you demanded it, not because you reminded him, but because he understood what it represented for you. He realized that being on time was not only about the clock, it was about feeling respected and considered. That kind of understanding goes beyond words. It shows that he is paying attention to your emotional world. And when someone starts caring at that level, it is usually because you have become more than just someone they enjoy spending time with. You have become someone whose feelings matter to them. Here is another sign that many people miss. He stops trying to appear perfect all the time. In the beginning, many men want to show only their strongest side. They want you to see the confident version, the successful version, the version that has everything under control. They hide the stressful days, the doubts, the moments when they feel overwhelmed. But when a man feels deeply connected, he becomes more comfortable showing his real life. He lets you see the days when he is tired. He shares the things that are bothering him. He allows you to see him when everything is not perfectly organized. And that does not mean he cares less. It often means he trusts you more. He is no longer showing you only the highlight moments. He is allowing you to see the complete picture. Another important change is that he begins caring about the things that matter to you, not in a fake way, not because he is pretending to be interested just to make you happy, but because your world starts becoming important to him. When you talk about something you love, he listens. He asks more questions. He remembers the details. He brings it up later because he actually cared about what you shared. If something at work has been stressing you, he checks in and asks how it went. If you are excited about something coming up, he remembers the date and celebrates that excitement with you. These actions may seem small, but they reveal something much bigger. They show that he is making space for you inside his life. And that is the part many people overlook. Love is not always proven through dramatic moments. Sometimes it is shown through quiet consistency. It is in the way someone remembers. It is in the way someone notices. It is in the way someone chooses to understand you, even when there is nothing to gain from it. And if you want to know whether someone is truly serious about you, watch the small things. The small things usually reveal the biggest truths. Because when someone sees you as important, they do not only want to be part of your happy moments, they want to understand the person behind them. They want to know your fears, your dreams, your habits, and the little details that make you who you are. That is when connection starts becoming something much deeper than attraction. That is when someone stops simply enjoying your presence and starts valuing your place in their life. When something is weighing on you, he starts feeling the impact of it too. Not because he feels forced to care, and not because he has to prove anything, but because your life has slowly become connected to his life. Your emotions, your struggles, your wins, and your challenges start becoming things he naturally pays attention to. What affects you begins to matter to him because you matter to him. And that is one of the biggest differences between a man who is simply enjoying a connection and a man who has become emotionally invested. When a man is truly locked in, he does not see your life as something separate from his anymore. He starts seeing the two of you as a team. The next major shift is something many people overlook because it happens quietly. He starts making decisions with you already included in his thoughts. This is a big one, and a lot of women miss it because they are waiting for some huge statement or obvious sign. But when a man sees you as someone important, you begin appearing in his future before he even says anything out loud. Let me explain what that means. Most men naturally think ahead. They consider goals, plans, career moves, where they want to live, what kind of life they want to create, and what steps they need to take to get there. When you are just someone he is casually spending time with, you may not be connected to those plans. He makes choices based on what works best for him, and then he tries to see where you fit afterward. But when his feelings become deeper, something changes. You stop being an addition to his life and start becoming part of the way he thinks about life. Suddenly, when he looks at opportunities, changes, or decisions, you are already somewhere in the picture. And this is where you need to pay attention because the signs are often hidden in normal conversations. A man who sees you as his person starts thinking differently about the future. He may consider a new job and wonder how it would affect both of you. He may think about moving somewhere and consider whether that place would also make sense for your life. He may plan a trip and think about whether you would enjoy it, whether it fits your schedule, and whether it creates a memory you both can share. Sometimes it even slips out in casual conversations. He might say something like, "When we go there," or "We should do that together someday," or even mention things about the future without realizing he included you in the sentence. Then he catches himself because he did not plan to say it. It simply came out naturally. Why? Because in his mind, you are already connected to what comes next. And that is very different from someone who only talks about the future to impress you or to see how you react. This is not about making promises just to keep you interested. This is about a person whose thoughts have already started making room for you. When a man emotionally chooses someone, he begins creating a mental picture where that person belongs. He starts asking himself, if she is going to be part of my world, how do we build something that works for both of us? That shift is powerful because it shows he is no longer only focused on the present moment. He is thinking about how two lives can connect. And here is something important to understand. This does not mean he is trying to control your life or remove your independence. It means he values your presence enough to consider you when he makes choices. That is a completely different thing. You will notice this in small moments too. He talks about plans months from now as if you naturally belong there. He mentions family events and considers how you would fit into those moments. He talks about experiences he wants to have and automatically imagines sharing them with you. It is not about assuming you have no choice. It is about the fact that inside his mind, you have become part of the picture. And that reveals something deeper. People do not usually organize their future around someone they see as temporary. They do not naturally create space for someone they do not value. The future starts changing when the person becomes important. Another way this shows up is through the way he considers your feelings even when you are not physically there. Imagine he is with friends and they make plans. A man who is only casually involved may simply do whatever he wants and mention it afterward. But when you become someone he deeply values, he starts naturally thinking about how his choices affect the relationship, not because you control him, not because he is afraid of your reaction, but because your perspective has become important to him. He may ask what you think, he may want your opinion, he may talk through decisions with you, not because he needs permission, but because he respects your voice. You have become part of his decision-making process because he sees your thoughts as valuable. And this is where many people misunderstand commitment. They think considering another person means losing freedom. But real partnership is not about losing yourself. It is about willingly making space for someone because you choose to. When a man starts looking at decisions through the question, how does this affect us? That is not weakness. That is emotional maturity. That is someone who is no longer thinking only as an individual, but as someone building a shared life. Think about it this way. If he is considering buying a new car, moving to another place, or changing his career path, there is a difference in how he handles it. A man who is only casually dating may make the decision first and tell you afterward because the choice was only about him. But a man who sees you as part of his future starts involving you earlier. He wants to hear your thoughts. He wants to know how you see it. He wants to understand how the decision fits into both of your lives. And that small difference tells you a lot, because when someone starts including you before the decision is made, it means you are no longer just watching their life happen. You are becoming someone they are building that life with. A man who truly sees you as someone important does not wait until everything is already decided before telling you. He brings you into the conversation while he is still thinking, still planning, and still weighing his options. He wants to hear your perspective. He considers your routine, your goals, your responsibilities, and the things that matter to you. He does not make major choices and then simply announce them afterward. Instead, he includes you because your life has become connected to his. And understand this clearly, it is not about asking for permission. It is about respect. It is about seeing you as a partner instead of someone standing on the outside of his world. When a man starts thinking this way, when you stop being an afterthought and become part of his first thoughts, that reveals a lot about where his heart and mind are focused. The next change is one that says more than words ever could. He stops focusing on winning disagreements and starts focusing on repairing the connection. Let's be honest, people have pride. Everyone wants to feel understood. Everyone wants to feel like they are right sometimes, and many men especially can struggle with letting go of that need to prove their point. In the early stages of a relationship, or when someone is not fully invested, arguments can become a competition. The goal becomes proving who is correct, defending pride, and making sure the other person understands their side. But when a man truly sees you as his person, something shifts. The purpose of the conversation changes. He is no longer asking, how do I win this? He starts asking, how do we get through this? And that difference changes everything. Because when someone values the relationship, protecting the connection becomes more important than protecting their ego. This does not mean he never becomes frustrated. It does not mean he suddenly handles every disagreement perfectly. It does not mean he never gets defensive or needs a moment to calm down. He is still human, but the important difference is what happens afterward. He comes back. He does not allow distance to grow endlessly just to prove a point. He does not let silence become a weapon. Even if he needs time to process, he eventually wants to reconnect. He may say things like, "Can we talk about this? I do not want this problem to become something bigger. Let's figure out how we can fix this." And those words may sound simple, but they reveal something powerful. They show that keeping the relationship healthy matters more than being the winner of the argument. When a man starts choosing the relationship over his pride, that is a major emotional shift. The mindset changes from me against you to both of us against the problem. And when you begin noticing that change, you start seeing a different kind of commitment. Because anyone can argue when emotions are high, anyone can defend themselves, anyone can walk away, but choosing to repair, choosing to understand, and choosing to stay connected requires someone who sees the relationship as something worth protecting. And here is something important to remember. When a man reaches this point, disagreements do not disappear, but they feel different. They stop feeling like a threat to everything you have built. They become challenges you can handle together. They become moments where both people learn, adjust, and grow. That sense of emotional safety is one of the strongest signs that someone is thinking beyond the present moment. Another thing that starts changing is that he stops keeping a record of every mistake. You know those arguments where someone suddenly brings up everything from months or years ago. You did this before. You always do that. Remember when you made that mistake? When a man truly sees you as his partner, that pattern starts fading, not because he forgets everything, not because nothing ever bothers him, but because he is no longer collecting evidence against you. He is not preparing a list of your failures to use when things get difficult. In his mind, you are not the enemy. You are on the same side. And people do not keep score against someone they are trying to build with. They solve problems together. So even when he is upset, even when something hurts him, he tries to stay focused on what is happening now. He wants to understand the current problem instead of attacking your entire character. That shows emotional growth. That shows someone who is not just enjoying the good moments, but is willing to handle the difficult ones too. Another change you will notice is the way he apologizes. In the beginning, or with someone who is not deeply invested, an apology can sometimes be about ending the conflict quickly. "Okay, sorry, can we just move on?" The goal is to stop the uncomfortable moment. But when a man truly values you, an apology starts looking different. It becomes about understanding, not escaping. He may say, "I'm sorry I hurt you. I did not realize that affected you that way. Help me understand what you felt so I can handle it better next time." Do you notice the difference? One apology is trying to close the conversation. The other one is trying to improve the relationship. One is focused on ending the problem. The other is focused on learning from it. And when someone cares enough to understand not only what happened, but why it hurt you, that shows they are thinking long term. Because if they see a future with you, they know they cannot just repeat the same patterns. They want to become better for the connection they are building. The final shift is something that separates real commitment from temporary excitement. He becomes steady even when nothing dramatic is happening. This is where many people get confused because excitement is easy to notice, but consistency is where the truth appears. Anyone can be amazing during the beginning stages. Anyone can be charming when everything feels new. Anyone can show effort when there is constant excitement and anticipation. But when a man truly sees you as someone important, he remains present when life becomes normal. He does not only show up when everything feels exciting, he shows up during ordinary days. He stays connected when there are no big moments happening. He does not disappear just because the first rush has faded. He does not start searching for constant excitement somewhere else because everyday life has become calmer. Instead, he understands that real connection is built in the quiet moments too, the small conversations, the normal routines. The simple days where nothing special happens. Because when someone truly values you, they are not only attracted to the excitement you bring, they appreciate the peace, the comfort, and the life you create together. That is when you know someone is not just chasing a feeling, they are choosing a person, and that difference changes everything.